What's going on, guys? B Green Flex here, voice of Flex. This is the fourth time I'm fucking filming this intro because for some reason I still had my cursor set to OBS, so when I was hitting spacebar to start the video that we're reacting to, it was stopping my recording. But anyway, it's video number 4. We're gonna do 3 today. We're gonna do reaction to this. This is the Inflation Reduction Act. I don't know if y'all follow politics, but they signed it in Congress as of a few days ago, so we're gonna react to that and let you go over my thoughts and opinions on how it's going to actually affect our economy. And then we're also going to react to a couple of fresh and fit videos. One of them is about the wage gap, which we all know is BS. And the other one is about the importance of a tribe amongst men, having a strong friend group, men that are also, driven, hustlers, have things going for them, aspirations, all that kind of stuff. So, first up, Inflation Reduction Act. Let's go over this thing, man.
Of money here, and it is hard to spend hundreds of billions of dollars of taxpayer money and fight inflation at the same time. This is what they're
Very important point. And mind you, this is just NBC Bay Area. Like, I just typed in inflation bill, and it was one of the first videos that popped up, and I watched a few seconds of it, and I think they give a vague enough description that we can dive into it. But I think the bill is like 700 or 800 billion that's getting passed, which is just money that they're gonna fucking print from thin air, and you're going to try and fight inflation, which is the devaluing of the dollar and the cost of goods going up because of the value of the dollar going down by printing more money, which in turn makes the value of the dollar less.
trying to pull off in the Inflation Reduction Act. I'm paraphrasing a 755-page bill here. It does a lot of spending and some cost cutting. For example, $300 billion going towards the fight against climate change, largely in the
300 billion to the fight against climate change. Why? $300 billion. Nothing that we are going to do is going to change the climate in our lifetime or for any lifetime to come after us. We're talking about thousands, if not millions of years before the climate actually even affects our everyday lives. It's been proven that the world goes through cooling phases, heating phases, and just in general, we've only been around for a few thousand years. And yes, we've done things to the ozone layer and we've done things to the natural resources, but either way, nothing that we do, especially nothing that $300 billion is going to do, is going to actually combat that. Like, I don't understand the theory behind why would you spend all that type of money towards something like there. What is it going towards? Like, what are you possibly going to do with $300 billion actually going to change the climate? Nothing.
way of incentives. We're going to break those down piece by piece tonight at 6 and 7 o'clock. Also, some prescription drugs are likely to get less expensive because of negotiations with Medicare.
This one I do agree with. To my understanding, it's going to be that Medicare can now negotiate the price of drugs with pharmaceutical companies, which they weren't able to do before. And also, in other countries, we're the only country that pays the amount that we do for pharmaceuticals. Um, at least through government programs and government funding. Every other country, it's a lot more private funding, but there's a lot more negotiations between the actual cost of the drug and what it costs to manufacture it versus what it's distributed for. And it's actually been shown that there's some pharmaceutical companies that do things with R&D and stuff like that with the intention of, or with uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Knowing that they're going to make up a lot of that money on the American side because they know that they can charge upwards of like 600% for the same drug in America that they can for other countries. So I am kind of happy about that one, especially with Medicare is mostly elderly, and I feel like the elderly, at least the ones that didn't set themselves up, are the ones that struggle the most. So that's probably a good one.
The Affordable Care Act was extended, but a cap on the price of insulin did not make the cut. Also, legislation.
That's kind of stupid though. Affordable Care Act is probably the worst thing that's ever happened to our country. We've all seen the price of insurance go up astronomically over the years. I myself, as a small business owner, self-employed, I pay almost triple or quadruple in health insurance for very, very low coverage than what I did through an employer that was, I mean, they were a big employer, but I mean, maybe 50 or 100 employees at the time, and I was paying, a quarter of what I'm paying now. And even just, I know the everyday family, I know people that have the same kind of situation. They're small business owners or, are in that type of self-employed field with a family, and they're paying $1,000 to $2,000 a month just for health insurance, which is ridiculous. Like that's a very big weight on a family.
Legislation to create a 15% tax on billion-dollar corporations. That's expected to bring in a lot of revenue. But is all this really fighting inflation?
And see, the thing about taxing corporations like that, if you increase your tax on corporation, all they're going to do is increase the price of their goods and or layoffs and cost cutting in order to keep their bottom line the same. Because a multi-million dollar company is not going to sit here and say, oh, okay, if we were paying, say 12% in a corporation tax as of the last 10 years, well, really, let's say the last, 4 to 6 because of Trump stuff, but if we were paying X amount in taxes and now you're going to double that or even increase it by, 25 to 50%, like as a company, I'm not going to sit here and just accept the fact that I'm going to make less money. No, I'm now going to either lay people off that I feel is necessary to be able to still keep operations running the same, or I'm just going to increase the cost of my goods to make up the bottom line and still be able to employ everybody, provide the same benefits, and be able to pay everyone, including myself, the same. And that's the thing about this, and that's why jobs end up moving overseas, going to China, going to other parts of Asia, going to parts of islands in the Africa and stuff like that, because they're not just going to accept having to pay more money or having to lose money. They're not just going to accept that. They're going to make up for it in other ways.
The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office says not likely.
Right now, there's still kind of excess demand in the economy to the extent that people can push up prices and wages and get away with it. And the bill doesn't do anything to address that.
So, Scott, this does seem like a lot of spending. That's what Republicans are saying, that it's not really all that anti-inflationary.
Well, right. I mean, we are putting a lot more money into the system, Janelle, but we are getting some back with the tax on corporations. That will help with some of the tax base. But you're right. If we want to fight climate.
But see, here's the thing, though. Like, the actual tax, like I just said, the actual tax on the corporation might increase. So they're going to then pay more. But it's not going to counteract because you just pumped $800 billion into the system additionally, and also because those corporations are still going to keep the same bottom line for their profit and loss. So they're just going to lay people off. It's going to cause a lot of jobs to get lost, or they're going to increase the price of their goods, which in turn still falls back on the middle class American that can't afford the cost of those goods already. We've already seen since Biden's been president, we've already seen the cost of goods go up at least 50%, or roughly around that like 30 to 50% range. So if now you tax corporations even heavier, they're going to say, okay, now that milk that went from 5 to 8 to 10, I'm now going to charge 15, because they're still going to want to keep the same bottom line without having to lay as many people off as they can. It's you're chasing your own tail, and I just don't understand why the Democrats can't fucking see that.
Climate change, that costs a lot of.
You know what? They can see it. They just choose not to, and they don't care about the middle class. They care about the rich people.
Of money. If we want to help healthcare and put more money into the system, that puts more money out there, and that is how we get inflation. So again, as we've talked about the last few weeks with raising interest rates, fighting recession, it's a very delicate line that these politicians are trying to walk while still getting a lot done out there.
So who are the real winners if this bill is passed by the president?
Well, I think, there will be some help for those who are on prescription drugs, let's say. The tax base, if that tax on corporations, we'll see a lot, even here in California, of tax money roll in. And that's good news for a lot of the tax-supported programs. Also,
What do the taxes do? please tell me what you've seen the government do with your tax money that's been so fucking amazing. Give me one. It takes forever to get roads built, and I know that's state governments, but still, it's just a point. Even national projects take for fucking ever. And it's like, you know, these national systems and programs that we have, you know, whether it be education related, whether it be infrastructure related, whether it be, you know, like the Medicare and Medicaid thing they're about to change is probably the only good one, but insurances are private for the most part, and insurance things are expensive as shit. Like, everything that the government runs is shitty. Everything about it is shitty. So why would we want to pay more taxes, especially corporations that could actually do other things with that money, provide more jobs and stuff like that? Why would they want to pay it back into the government when we've seen all they do is just pocket it? That's all they fucking do.
So, and we'll talk about this more later tonight, but if the climate change bill gets passed and it's expected to get signed by the president pretty soon, that not only gives more incentives to corporations, it gives incentives to us to fight back against climate change.
Okay, you'll have a lot more at 6.
What are you going to fight? Like, you get an electric car, cool. I love Teslas. I think they're fucking sick. I'm probably going to get one when I have the means to, and it's not like, if it'll be car like number 7 I get. But just in general, like, there's nothing that you're going to do. Even if everyone drove an electric car starting today until we all died, it would not make a dent in anything in relation to climate change. It really wouldn't. And that's why I don't understand why you would put all this extra money into climate change, whether it be incentives for the everyday person or just in general. It's not going to change anything. Allocate those funds to actually doing things that can help middle-class Americans be able to afford gas and be able to afford to even get a car. Because right now, the car market's insane because there's no fucking supply.
We'll keep talking about it, yeah.
Okay, thanks, Scott.
You bet.
Tonight?
Oh, there we go. I don't know. I hope y'all liked that video, man. Make sure you drop a like on there. Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. You know, I try to stay calm with this kind of shit, man, but that, like, it really does frustrate me. And don't get me wrong, I'm not all the way right. I mean, I believe in, you know, being able to own a gun and say what the fuck you want and all that shit, but I also have a lot of social views that could be on the left or that could really be in the middle. Like, for the most part, all I care about is the government not being involved in my fucking shit. I'll pay the taxes that I am supposed to pay. I'll fucking, you know, make sure that when I buy a property, I get deeds for it, or, you know, I get titles for everything, and I'll do things by the book in that regard. But all that to have you leave me the fuck alone. I don't want you in my everyday life. I don't want you helping me. I don't want you out in the streets telling people that they're victims and that they can't make anything of their lives, so they have to depend on government assistance or depend on the government to help them. No. This is America, where there's capitalism and opportunity, and you can go do whatever the fuck you want to do. Whether it be good or bad, you have that fucking choice. And we all have the choice to become successful in this country. And I'm not going to let anybody tell me otherwise. Anyway. Hope y'all liked the video. Like I said, make sure to drop a like. Also subscribe. I got the 2 Fresh and Fit videos coming right after this. And make sure to check out the TikTok as well. Same thing, Voice of Flex is getting all clipped up on there. And yeah. Catch y'all guys on those.